Okay, so we're gonna make kitchari today and really excited to share with you. So starting off here, I wanted to just show you our ginger crater, which is made with ceramic, and you can find it in most Japanese stores or on Amazon. So this is a way to grate the ginger. And then here's a preview of the spices that we use, and there's a whole array that can be used in kitchari. There's really no end to the options. So this is a cumin and coriander pre-blend. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. We use it so often. This is an organic turmeric, which is really helpful to have the organic quality. This is mustard seeds, coriander, cumin seeds, kind of all in one mix by accident. This is going to be fennel seeds, which I often do like to add, and they jumped into the turmeric there. And then cumin seeds, which are a fantastic option. And then this is kala nanak, which is a black salt. It has kind of a sulfur flavor, which is fantastic. And these guys together are sort of the basis for kitchari flavoring. So now what we're going to do is rinse off the mung beans. And we can do that by just running them under water and having them in a bowl. And when we bring the water into the bowl, just rinse it around just like that. And then the water may have a little bit of cloudy or some small particles. So those particles often float to the top. So I'll often just sort of gently tilt the bowl to the side so those things can kind of float away. And rinsing it twice always seems like a good idea. So I'll do that a second time. And again, this is a smaller volume because I just made a big batch. So you'll probably have a little bit more. You may need a bigger bowl when it actually comes down to it. So this is it. Mung dal, and dal being split and mung being the type of bean. And here we have unfortunately there's a little bit of water in this stainless steel pan, which is giving that kind of characteristic popping. However, I wanted also to just show you what the actual mechanics happen when it gets a little bit hotter. And I find the turmeric doesn't do so well, so the pre-blended mixes, I'll often skip this step. And this is a wonderful way to kind of bring the flavors out. You're toasting the seeds. And once that toasting is done, you see the seeds popping here. It's time to add the mung dal and the spices. So, and you saute that just a bit as well. So here we're going to add the spices, which include all kinds of good options. We're going to do turmeric, cumin, coriander blend. We'll add, let's see here, yeah, there's the turmeric. And now I'm going to add the fennel. And you can add all kinds of different options here. That's going to be cumin. You can also add some cinnamon. Gosh, there's a lot of options. So that's the basis of the spice blend. And of course, this is a slightly smaller ratio because of it's a smaller batch. So we've got all the spices in, and you can add the hing in as well. I ended up adding that a little later because I forgot. I'm gonna just saute this. This is in the Instapot on the saute setting. So again, as we add the water, the reason we're gonna bring it now to a boil, which kind of helps that cooking process for the mung beans, which actually for dry legumes, they actually end up cooking really quickly and really easy. So you can see here, we're starting to add the water, and yes, there's a second intake of water. So here we've got it now. We're gonna do the boiling quality and bring that to like a low boil. It doesn't have to be a full rolling boil. And just know that this also has the capacity to boil over. So I always like to make that point. But you can see here, this is kind of the size and shape of the mung bean in the very beginning process. And then kind of going forward, we're letting it cook. Gonna put, so if you were doing a pre-mix, now would be the time to add that. You would have skipped sauteing the spices and just on the mung dal at the beginning. So this is a kitchari spice blend that we often use from Banyan Botanicals, which has all the ingredients we just mentioned, and maybe even just a few other secret ingredients. It's got a great flavor. So here we see that turmeric darkens up pretty quickly as soon as it starts cooking. And you may end up adding a little bit of extra water as needed as you go along. Everybody's going to be a little bit different in terms of what their needs are and how that ends up coming across. And here we're going to do, I have some sliced zucchini. And again, I love to add lots of vegetables. So zucchini, squash, asparagus, carrots, sweet potatoes. We get a big bowl of rinsed rice and the vegetables. And now we're going to be about ready to add this to the mixture. So this is when we sort of transfer it over, and we're going to stir this into our partially cooked mung bean mixture. So now we're just sort of stirring it up, getting it all situated, and slowly but surely we're going to mix in all the vegetables. And again, this has been at a medium heat, it hasn't been boiling the whole time. And once I throw in these veggies, I'm not as interested in stirring it so much. That tends to make it more gummy or more like a gruel, which actually can taste really good too. But I try to give it a couple of big stirs at the beginning to make sure all the flavors are incorporated. Keep an eye on the water. But I find that when I stir it from here going forward, it does tend to cause the rice to break down. And we might want some of that, if you will, dry quality, that separate quality. And here I'm just putting in the hing. So there's really no danger if you want to do extra spices at this point, or no issue really. So you can just add in, and this is two options, the hing crystals or the ground hing. And these don't have quite the same additives as what you might get, but we've used the other hing. It's used in a relatively small amount, so I usually don't worry too much about it, depending on what you have available. And here you can see we're probably 15 minutes into cooking. And this is on the high setting on the slow cooker of the Instapot. And you'll have to figure out for your own kitchen, but like I said, try to leave it mostly undisturbed. And this is a pretty good option. You can see here we're about done. The rice and the mung, and I guess over time you'll have a sense of what done looks like, but you can certainly taste it. And if the rice or the mung have that little bit of sort of al dente, like uncooked pasta, then you can add some more cooking time to it. But this is about 40 minutes in from start of the process of sauteing the spices in the ghee. So now we're ready to serve it, and this is always an exciting option. So we're going to introduce the the kitchari out of that, and we try to use ceramic or wooden ladles. The heat of using plastic in the kitchen may bring some of those plastic molecules into the food, which we try not to do. So this is just that mixture. It's the mung, the basmati rice, the spices, the ghee, and now at the end I love to add a little bit of fresh cilantro, which really adds a wonderful dimension, and some fresh black salt, the kala nanak, which adds a sort of almost like an umami. It gives this kind of particular taste, and you can get that online typically. This is going to be ginger, ground ginger, and sometimes I'll take a little bit of water, a little bit of the kitchari itself to rinse it off the grater. When you do a bigger quantity, it's a little bit easier to get it off all at once. And this is a little bit of ghee we're adding. You can also add some lemon, coconut flakes, nutritional yeast, sauerkraut. Gosh, there's so many different options for what can actually be utilized. So this is basically one of our favorite meals. It's kitchari. And I wanted to show you, this is kitchari day 2, coming out of the fridge. The soluble fibers start connecting and congealing, and it gives this sort of kitchari mass of food. And so I always like to say it's still super tasty and edible as soon as you've warmed it up with some water. So I usually do about 1 cup of cold kitchari to about ½ cup of water, and that water will evaporate pretty quickly, and medium heat, and there you have it.